There are no games today. So what we are doing is we're going to do a free-for-all show, meaning that you guys can ask any questions on any games this week. So, and we will answer your questions. We'll go, we'll see how many people show up and see how many questions there are. Not expecting a huge turnout today with no games, but like I said, we'll just do a free-for-all style. Brian Bittler can't be with us. They're both waiting in line at the polls. I want to go over our politics and religion procedure. Been doing this is our fourth U.S. presidential election, I believe, since politics on any of our websites or in our Facebook groups. I don't care if it's betting on politics. I don't care if it's any of that stuff. We're not talking about it. It is a zero tolerance policy. I don't know what's the matter with the world, man. I think I live in the, I know both my co-hosts on this show are both Canadian, but I think I live in the greatest country in the world, man. I just can't believe that, what I've seen over the last 4 years, not just, some of the words that we've heard from some of these people and all these different, from both sides, just that as people, my friends, some of the smartest people that I know can't find 1 inch of common ground, man. It's amazing to me. And I'll tell you, at the end of the day, man, win or lose, this is where we're going to be. And for us, man, we're all just like, it's just like in these games, right? It's like, I was on the Giants. I'm sure a ton of you were on the Bucks, but it's like, we're still friends, It doesn't matter. It's like, Tom Brady doesn't give a shit about you. I'll tell you that much, and Daniel Jones, I'm sure if you ever watched our show, he hates my guts, but it's like he certainly cashed for me last night. But at the end of the day, we're all still friends. And today's a new day, and we're going to try and hit it as best we can with the cards that we're dealt. I don't sit here and talk about my life a hell of a lot, but I will tell you one thing, man. If you ever really heard my true story, you'll know I was not dealt good cards, man. But you play the hand that you're dealt, and you do the best that you can with it. Sometimes you have to work the cards a little harder, man, to get where you want to go. And sometimes you have to work them, a few times, to get them where you want to go. But you do the best that you can. And, this person and that person and this policy and that policy, believe me, it doesn't matter who gets in. I always get screwed. Anyways, man, speaking about getting screwed, we'll bring Ruffalo in here and Rod. Morning, guys. I just wanted to clear there. I know you guys are both Canadian, but it's a huge day, and I'm going to guess in Canada they're probably paying attention as well, to everything going on here in the U.S. today. And, be safe, everyone. Be smart. It's like I said, man, it's like it really, it's not about one person, man. It's about one country. And it's like, when we lose sight of that, then we're dead. Then we're just dead. And I think we have lost sight of it in a lot of instances. And, that's what's made this year tougher than ever. It's like we're all brothers, man. We're all brothers. It's like just crazy. I mean, there's always going to be, just like I have trolls. It's like, I react to trolls, but, people react to the other assholes out there, and that's okay. It's like, I don't understand it, in much bigger, ways. Much bigger ways than I do. And that's okay, but I call a troll out. It's the end of the fucking world. Anyway, speaking about the end of the fucking world, Giants almost won a football game, Chris. That was close. I really hate the throwing of the flag and the picking up of the flag. I don't know if it was a penalty or not a penalty. I don't know if the Giants would have gotten stuffed on the next play anyway. But if it's not a penalty, then why are you throwing the flag? I just don't understand it. It wasn't like they replay it. It's not like when there's a touchdown, we rule it a touchdown because touchdowns are always replayed. It's not like if it's possibly a fumble, you rule it a fumble because all turnovers are automatically replayed. Those I understand. Yeah. But throwing a flag on a pass interference in a game where there was some ticky-tacky pass interferences called, and I would say the Bucs got the benefit of all of them.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
All of them.
Yeah.
the ones the Giants had way more penalties, and that's the team that's not as good and doesn't have as much talent on their roster is always going to have more penalties than the teams that do, because you have to take some shortcuts to try and hang in there. Hopefully you don't get caught on a few of them, and it pays off. But to me, it's like I don't understand the throwing of the flag and the picking up of the flag. How exactly does that work?
Well, because they did a little huddle first.
I wish I knew personally as well. Yeah, Rod's right. Yeah. They had to get together, and it's all subjective. One guy's like, oh, I threw the flag for this. He's like, no, I didn't see that, and they pick it up.
Well, good, because I don't want to work overtime. You want to work overtime? No, I don't want to work overtime either. Well, then just pick up the flag. Oh, okay, good idea.
Well,
you guys know if we throw this flag.
We'll come back to this in a second. We got our first free-for-all question. Texans, Jags, over, under 51.5. Rod.
I'll go over. Jags are ugly. I can see a blowout now, like a shootout. Yeah, I like over. Give me over.
Chris?
51.5. I like it just to go under. I see it 27-24. So
I see 13-12. This is just a lousy game. I don't know. It's just put it this way. I don't care if the total was 20. I don't care if the total's 70. I'm not betting that game. That's where I'm at. Anyways, back to this flag thing. Back to this flag. Yeah, then you know what it is? Someone knows something. Kevin talking about Brian. He's not even here.
I think he came late when you announced that he wasn't going to be here.
Oh, he's here?
No, I said no. I said when you said Brian wasn't going to be here, I think Kevin Bowman showed up late.
Oh. Oh, so here's the deal. I love this question. I wonder how easy to explain to your wife you met her that you were a capper. So here's the deal. I used to have a regular job. I used to work in an investment firm, right? So when I met my wife, oh my God, I was self-employed. I was a day trader. So that was easy to explain because day trading back then was common. But over the years, we had gone to Vegas and we had gone, to the track, and we had always, my wife's not like a big gambler. She doesn't follow sports. She does yoga, like most of a lot of your wives out there, right? And girlfriends, right? She doesn't follow sports. She'll listen because it's so much part of our life, and she'll hear me out on it, and she will understand. But it's like if the game gets tense, like so when the Giants went up. When the Giants went up last night, right, by 8, it was 8, right? So the Giants were up by 8, and the Bucks were up by 8, and the Giants had the ball, and it's Daniel Jones, right, who's fully capable of throwing a pick six at any given moment. My wife realized that was a very tense moment in the game, especially the Giants went for it on their own 30. If they don't get it there, I mean. The Patriots the Bucks aren't in a position to run out the clock at that point. They could have easily scored another touchdown right then and there. So she knew that was a tense moment, and she left the room. She just can't handle it. It's too stressful. But
sounds like what the dog does. My dog will leave the room. He'll be like, I got to go.
but my wife, so in 2007, when I left my day job to become a full-time sports bettor and handicapper, my wife encouraged me to do that. My wife said, you can do this, no problem. She's like, I hated my job. And she knew that. And she was like, you can move mountains. She's like, you've done things that most people could never do. She's like, this is a layup for you. She's like, we'll sell the house. We'll do whatever we need to do. She's like, we'll live off of my salary until things start rolling. She's like, no problem. You got this. And that's exactly what happened. And I know that not every wife and girlfriend is going to be that supportive, But I think if you want them to be that supportive, you got to walk the walk all the way. And my wife knew, like, I wasn't just going to say, all right, I'm going to bet here and then just start taking punts with our every last dollar and start chasing with every last dollar. She knew that I'd been doing this for a long time, and we had been very, very successful with it, over time. And it's a lot of, and it's the same strategies that we use. And when I'm not winning, it's when I get off those strategies. And we talked about this behind the scenes, a few times we've talked about it because, the nature of the beast, you're not going to be hot all the time. And it's like, what I find is that, and Brian, if he was here, he would agree with me because we had this discussion. He did agree with me, and he said the same thing. The reason sometimes why you fall off the hot streak so extremely is that you get what you feel is conservative. You start making bets. You start getting a little bit more favorite heavy. You're still using the same systems, but the picks that you're leaning towards are the favorites, not those dogs that are sticking out to you anymore. And like if I was on a hot streak, I probably would have taken the Bucs last night. Saying, man, that's like if I take the Giants, then Tom Brady's going to have like one of those 6 touchdown games because Drew Brees just passed them in the, in the thing, and it's like now he's got to pass Brees, and he's going to be mad, he's going to be motivated. It's like when you go off your game, but it's like the last week, it's like I was running cold on NFL Sundays. And, man, I went back to my old system, and, it's sure enough, Vegas isn't going to sit there and let the favorites pound them all season. That's not going to happen, That is not going to happen. But anyways, that was a good question. And so the answer is that I didn't do this full time until my wife suggested that I do. And, like I said, I understand not everybody's wife is going to tell them to do that, But not everybody has the track record in betting that I do either. So, I know a lot of people, they see, we give out tons of free picks and all, they see all this other stuff, but it's like when push comes to shove, I've been doing this online for, 14 years. People are still tuning in. So I must have some winners out there, right? I must have more hot streaks than cold streaks. I hope that answers the question. Anyways, today we lose regardless of who wins. Yeah, because there's no sports. Morning. Why you didn't catch the game? Why were the Buccaneers struggling, Chris? Do you think in that game?
I don't know. I think it might have been a bit of a look ahead. I don't know. I think they were just taking the Giants too easy and thought it was just going to be a cakewalk, and Tom Brady just really couldn't get going. And I mean, he was throwing the ball well, he was seeing it well. The drives were stalling, and
I think Tom Brady's at the end of his rope, and I think he missed some passes, and we're still seeing those glimpses of greatness because he is Tom Brady, right? So we're still seeing it in certain spots, but when they're disguising the coverages, like that throw to Miller, like what happened is when Brady threw the deep sideline patterns, the ball fluttered at the end, and the defensive backs were able to knock them down. So he wasn't able to hit those long balls on a rope. His receivers weren't also creating good separation on those either, where he could loft them out there. But he was short on a lot of those throws. And then I also thought the Giants did a really nice job in disguising coverages, and they absolutely stuffed the run. The Bucs could not run the football on them. So it was like they were in obvious passing downs. I think that we saw a play from the Giants that kind of summed it all up, and they actually replayed it, and I don't know what the commentary was on this, of course, because I don't listen to that crap. But there was a play where Gronk went out. It was third down, and it was like 3rd and 8, which the Bucs were in a lot of 3rd and 8s last night. It seemed like they were in a lot of 3rd and longs, like a lot of 2 slamming it into the line twice with Fournette, and 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7. This just seemed they were in a lot of those 3rd and 7s, and you didn't see them in the 3rd and 1s and 3rd and 2s, and even when they went to 4th and 1 and 4th and 2. They went for it, and the guy got stuffed. They got stuffed on it. And, we saw a play, and I saw them replay it. And, it was something that I wouldn't have noticed watching it live. And it was nice they replayed it. And I'm sure they had some really cool commentary about it because some of the commentary, not all commentary stinks, it's just. And the guys who call the games actually on Monday night are actually pretty good, you know, in the grand scheme. Now they got rid of Jason Witten, right? I mean, that was bad. that was just we call that the dark period, right? But they had this play where the defensive end peeled off the end of the line, and instead of rushing, he covered Gronk on the inside, and then the back was still covering him on the backside. And Brady flinched because he was clearly was his number one receiver, and he was so sure by the way that the Giants had lined up their defense on the line that he was going to be wide open when he wasn't. That's about as bad as Tom Brady can look. He just looked like it just was like, I can't believe it's not there. And then, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get hit, and it's going to happen in about a half a second. And, he just got buried. I thought the Giants did a really great. I thought the Giants had a really good game plan, all the way. And I'm not saying they deserved to win or didn't deserve to win. I'm just saying the Bucs got some really beneficial calls. They got they got a pass interference, that set up a touchdown. They got they got the pass interference flag that picked up at the end of the game. The Giants didn't really get any beneficial calls at all. They had a few. There was a holding call called on the Giants early in the game on a first down play that was clearly not holding. I mean, they showed it was not holding. The guy like pushed him like with one hand in the chest. They called it holding. But I just thought in that game, it's the NFL. And we looked at the Giants games before that game last night, and we said 3 points, 4 points, 2 points, 1 point, 1 point. And this is, the Giants, they're not going to not cover at home all season. I like to give Daniel Jones a hard time, and the Giants fans really want Trevor Lawrence. I know that. They really want Trevor.
They're now 5-3.
Against the number.
Against the number.
Right,
yeah,
which is all we care about.
Number, so.
That's all we care about.
Which is crazy. So you look at their record and you'd be like, oh. But if you look at the ATS, they made you money.
Atlanta, Liverpool, I got no idea. Going to be some goals, surely. And you know how many of them I'm going to see? 0. Chris, how many goals are you going to see in that game?
At least I'm going to take the over 3.5.
Rod?
Well, I'm going to say you're going to see at least 2, so both teams are going to score. I think it's going to be a draw.
You absolutely have to have replay. You just need to change the replay rules. I think that every play should be replayed, like the way that they do it in college. You see less mistakes in college than in the pro sports, where they replay every single play is replayed. And, I think the refs need to be accountable for their bad calls, all of them. And it's like, they say there's some kind of accountability, but we never see it.
We don't see it, yeah.
Salzburg, Bayern Munich over under 4. Rod.
I'll say under.
Under.
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah, I'm on the under as well.
All right. Kent -6. It's got to be Team A versus Team B with the point spread.
I missed hearing that.
Yep. On these free for all, Team A versus Team B with the point spread. Not if you just name one team, then it's not about you. It's answering the question for everybody. Mark Tiggs, recently allowed back in the Facebook group. I haven't let him in. He was blocked for mentioning a competitor site. Clearly in the rules, there's no endorsing of anybody's sites in the Facebook groups. It's clearly mentioned in the rules. Clearly. What do you guys like?
I like ice cream.
Yeah. Oreos, Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh, the white Reese's peanut butter cups.
The white ones, yeah. They have
Yeah.
I like the little snack. They have a snack bag you can get of the little white ones. Oh my god! I like those.
I don't like the white chocolate.
Mm.
Jay Buck took a bad beat. Had the Bucks -5. If you're doing teasers, you took a bad beat before the games even started. I'll tell you that much. If you do teasers, you are a sucker. Major League Sucker bet. teasers.
I'm going to start calling the MLS Major League Sucker.
Why?
Well, I always get sucked into making a mistake on those games.
Jay Bach also says he's on the cold wagon. He's lost 10 straight bets. That means, I can only tell you, if you bet NFL, that just means you're on way too many favorites. If Bittler was here, he will tell you the squares got crushed. they got crushed. I think it started late in college football or midday college football, and it just rode all the way through into NFL and into last night too. The squares just got blasted. I mean, it started. I know the Texas A&M Arkansas, that backdoor cover. The squares got crushed on that thing. It just went on and on and on, right? I mean, because even Penn State was sort of a public favorite.
Yeah.
What is your favorite best betting moment day that each of you ever had? Chris, what's your best betting moment that you ever had?
I think it was.
It doesn't. For me, this doesn't necessarily have to mean your biggest win.
No, I know. I think my favorite was about 4 years ago. I just had a weekend where I just crushed. It was a 12-game NHL pool, and then parlayed that up and won another. I had probably about a $10,000 weekend that weekend. It was just everything went right. I think that was my favorite weekend because I was just I felt invincible.
Rod, what was yours?
Mine would have been a few years back now. It was winter. It was probably about the second meeting with my wife, and it was cold winter. I was hurting for money, and I went and bought a sports light ticket, and she was playing a video game, and I'm watching this football. We wanted to do stuff and go out, but we didn't get paid for a few days. And watching this football, the whole thing came in and won me. It was just under the number, so you didn't have to wait to go cash it in. It was $980-something or something, and then we were like, yes, out of the house. We took off and had a great weekend. That was my favorite betting moment. It's one of those things when you didn't expect, you buy it, but you didn't expect it, and then it was on college football too. I remember college football. Crazy moments.
For me,
I remember the kick. It was a kick the field goal for tie, because in sports select you need a tie. So 3 points or less is considered a tie, and I had a tie. So that's all I needed, and Buddy kicked the field goal. He had a 50-something yarder. It was like, then you do the dance around the house. You're like, yeah, woo, woo.
So for me in 2011 Kentucky Derby, I was in Vegas with Craig Trapp, and my wife always writes down all her horse bets before I go to Vegas if she's not going to be there, and it's a big race. So it was the Kentucky Derby. Normally she's out there with this. I don't know why. This is kind of like before, this was kind of like before picks and parlays, like right when we were starting picks and parlays, Craig and I, and like when, Sports Chat was kind of just getting going, and, things were just going. I had only been out of my job at that point for like a year or two. So this was like, I was still living in the 1-bedroom apartment in Chicago, and it was, this was before Maui and, and all this, this was before I was betting, $2,500 on a halftime. This was way before then. So my wife had written down her bets, and, I didn't think anything of it. And we're staying at New York, and I put the tickets. I got my wife's tickets like the day before the Derby, and I just put them on the nightstand. I just totally forgot about her bets. I just totally forgot about them. And I guess I had left my phone in the room too. This is, cell phones, think about how far cell phones have come in the last 10 years. This is the iPhone was probably, 2 years in at this point. And so, people, it just wasn't as common as it is now, even just 10 years ago. And so, the race goes, and it's like I lost. I got crushed, and, it wasn't even close or whatever. And I guess I had forgotten, about, my wife's tickets. I'd totally forgotten about it. And not having the phone. So, to make a long story short, my wife hit the try in the super, and I totally didn't even know it. And I had the tickets just sitting there in the room, and I thought that I had left the tickets in the sports book at MGM, but I had actually bought them the day before, and they were sitting in the room. And I thought I had left them, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know that she had won. And she was like panicking because she's trying calling me because she's so excited that she won, And it was like, oh man, I ended up, finding the tickets. They were in the room. I went and cashed in. It was like a massive payout. Animal Kingdom came in at like 16-1 on top. I think the try paid, on $1 paid, I don't know, $2,000 or something, which was, a big deal to us back then.
Somebody got to go.
What's that?
Somebody got to go. Somebody's asking election questions and like crazily.
Oh,
who gonna win? Trump or Biden? Trump or Biden? Election day. I hit the like button. Rapid fire. Biden or Trump? It's like, holy man. Somebody went nuts.
Yeah, we got idiot. We call those idiots. Unacceptable, man. But anyways, I ended up finding the tickets, money, and bought tickets for Craig and I to go to the fights. It was like, because we split the money, my wife and I, when we had for horses, we always split the winnings, and ended up using the tickets to Craig and I went to the fights. It was good times. Those were the good old days, That was before the big money, Sometimes those are the best times, right?
Yeah.
Like
the ones that stick with you the most is I find the ones when you're the little ones.
Yeah, the money, it changes people and it changes things, a lot. But it's like it doesn't. It's like sometimes things were just a lot easier then. We had a 1-bedroom apartment. It was like today I'm gonna have jackhammering at my house because I still got an electrical problem in the bathroom, so we have to gut it and redo it and everything, and it's gonna be a mess. Gonna be some interesting videos. So I'm trying to find this ass clown. It's like I don't even understand this, man. It's like, do you not have a TV? There he is. No, it's not. You didn't mean to upset us. We just made it crystal clear that we weren't going to talk about politics on this show, and we never have, and we never do, and we've made that clear for a very long time. I made it clear in 2007 that we were never going to talk about politics or religion, and we've continued that policy. So this is nothing new, to anybody. So any political questions, man, I don't care if it's betting or not. You're gone, man. All right, well, that's my favorite betting story. I have a bunch more, but that one, it was just cool because it was like, I didn't even know I won, and I won, and it was like, it ended up being a really nice payout. What was the payout on that thing? What was the payout on the 2011 Derby? What was the payout? I think the Philly came in second. Most of my favorite wins are horse racing, though. They are. So Animal Kingdom paid $19.60 to place and $13 to show. He was plus 3,000 on the money line.
$2 trifecta got you almost $4,000.
Yeah,
in 2011.
And what was the super? The super.
$2 super. $2 super pack got you
48,000. So it was like my wife. I think it was $1 that we had. It was either $1 or 50 cents. It was like something. It was
still like 12K.
Yeah, it was like it was like a ridiculous win. It was definitely. I had to fill out the form. You know, it was like it was one of those. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, Mucho Macho Man, Nero, Master of Hounds came in fourth. Shackelford, who actually went on to win the Breeders' Cup that year. Shackelford won the Breeders' Cup at Churchill, which I was also at, which my wife also hit a monster trifecta at. Was at that Breeders' Cup. I hit an exact at that Breeders' Cup that paid $2,400 in exacta, and my wife hit a try that was like gigantic. We hit 2 races the whole day, and it was awesome. And that was the day that LSU beat Bama that year, and then Bama beat LSU in the championship. Man, things were just so much different back then. They were so much different. This is crazy to even think about. And just think, man, it was like one guy was president, another guy was president. It didn't matter, right? It didn't freaking matter, man. I'll tell you, man, Animal Kingdom didn't give a shit who was the president that day. He just kept running. Mucho Macho Man. That's like one that my wife would take. She loves those ones with the Spanish names. Los Barachos. She's like, it's kind of like that movie Nacho Libre. I better throw him in. That's what she said. That's seriously. That's her logic on picking these horses. Reminds me of Nacho Libre. It's like that time in the wilderness.
You're looking through the program, you just see a horse, not Berea. Or Senior Square.
No, for those of us betting on the election, can you all handicap that pick? Absolutely not. But what we can do is throw you out of our thing. That's what we'll do. Instead, in lieu of not giving you the election pick, we'll just throw you off of our YouTube channel. I can't stand politics, man. I don't understand it. You know, it's one of those things that gives me a headache because I just don't understand it at all. I know like zero about it. You could put 100 politicians, you know, there, like the most popular ones. I could name 2 of them. You know, I can name maybe 3 now because of the election year. Maybe 6 now because of all the stuff with the COVID. You know, that you've seen them around, but it's like I know about 6 politicians total, and you know, 5. Maybe 5 I could point out. I know I know they're around. You know, they're around these things. You know, but it's like I certainly don't know them. You got a real asshole. You got a lot of assholes. How do you guys bet when you see more value? Do you always stick to a certain number or percent, or do you hammer away? I hammer away. I mean, I always hear guys talk about like these very strict betting things like that. I know for a fact, and I'm gonna say some things out there that some people are going to agree with and they're not going to agree with, but I don't give a shit. I'm going to say it. And these guys, they can cover their ears and cover their mouths if they want to. But you look at all these guys out there that say they're professional bettors and all of that stuff. I can tell you for the straight facts, there's a handful that do better than I do. As far as, you know, when it comes to profit and loss, they might have there's people with better records than me. There are people that are better game pickers than me. There are people that, you know, that send me emails saying, I can outpick you any day of the week. And, you know, most of them, you know, it's like, they always say that. And then it's like, you know, they start sending me the picks. And as soon as that happens, they all start to lose. You know, I always say, never look at them, right? But I do. They lose like crazy. As soon as they're accountable for their picks, they start to lose. But I don't think there's more than, you know, a handful of people out there that that can show a better profit and loss than I can in their own personal betting statements. I mean, I look around my block here, you know, and those of you does, there's some people here in Maui that watch our show and stuff. They can tell you, there's, it's a different neighborhood, than, some of the other gamblers that you see out there and the other guys who claim to be experts and that they've won all this money and done all this stuff. It's like, I don't see it. It doesn't add up to me. But how about you, Chris? You like to chase a little once in a while?
Once in a while. Mm-hmm. Rarely, though. If I see someone I really like, I start doing the same thing that, Mitch, that you do. If you see something you like, you hammer it again, and then you do another once over. If you still like it, you hammer it again, and I'll sometimes bet the same game 5 or 6 times, and can't help myself.
How about you, Rod? You stick to a strict money management system, or sometimes you get a little carried away?
Sometimes you get a little carried away. Well, I know I do. Sometimes you just can't help yourself. You get all excited. You're like, ooh.
I'm not going to apologize for it either. I'll tell you that much.
And it's just like, sometimes you do.
Yeah, I will not apologize for the getting carried away.
Oh, no.
That's not going to happen.
I always, basically, you always stick to if I make the bet, you got to be willing. Pretend that if you lose that money, it's not going to kill you. Like, don't bet your rent money on a sports thingy and pray that you're not going to live on the street the next day.
Unless you're betting against the Jets. Unless you're betting. Except if you're betting against the Jets.
Except this year it would be all in against Dallas. Because they're, 0-8? All in on Dallas. Dallas play? Who are they playing? Doesn't matter. Bet against them.
The Jets.
Yes, I used to go to the dog tracks. I used to go to Flagler, and also when I was in college, I used to go to the dog tracks at Wonderland and Raynham in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Wonderland out in Boston. Take the blue line to Wonderland. Bet some quinellas.
And yes, this is Yoda. A mini Yoda. And he does talk. He's actually.
Yeah, you got Team A. If you want picks, Team A versus Team B with the point spread. What is one important to you would tell someone new to sports betting? That's a good one. Chris? Like, what's the one thing you would tell someone that's new to sports betting?
Don't overreact. I mean, it's one day. If you lose a game, it's not the end of the world. There's always tomorrow. Again, don't go chasing just for the sake of chasing. Just take a deep breath and just focus on the next day. Just take it one day at a time.
How about you, Rod?
Well, you can't, just like we've said how many times, you can't look back. You always got to look forward. It's like, you just... Well, look at my weekend. I got murdered this weekend, like, literally. So I put that behind me, and now we move forward. It's like, you can't let the past affect the present.
Yeah, I would say for me, if I would say the few things. The first one is, if you bet the game, then you bet the game. You didn't bet the first 5 minutes, and you didn't bet the first 3 quarters. You bet the game. So if you don't start throwing things at the TV. There'll be plenty of time for that later, and there'll be plenty of games to do that on. But there's no reason to throw. You're down 7-0. Or like Daniel Jones throws the interception. Right out of the gate yesterday, and it's like in the second half. It's like, it's not time to throw things at the TV and to get too emotional, because this is a long game, and the guys that make these point spreads are very, very good at it. 90-something% of the time, it's going to be pretty close to that number, man. It's going to come down to it. So it doesn't matter where the score is now. I mean, look at that Denver-San Diego game on Sunday. I mean, and it's not like this is an outlier. You know, it's like this happens all the time, you know, all the time. And that's why we love sports. That's why people are fans of sports, you know, is because anything can happen. And it does. And it's like miracle comebacks. It's like, they happen all the time. All you had to do is be on any of my run line bets this baseball season. You want to see some comebacks, man. You be on the other side of my run line bets. I'm sure you cash gigantically all season long. I mean, people say they wanted to bet. They like betting against my picks. I really think this baseball season, some people put on some extensions on their home and some swimming pools. I mean, it was chalky. You know, it was a chalk fest. I got crushed.
It's like the guy in the Facebook group who.
And I would also say that, you know, if you have a winning system, if you have a system that you're confident in and that has worked over time, you know, that I wouldn't veer from it. And this is something that I make this mistake, and these guys make the same mistake, and everybody I know makes the same mistake, is that don't go off of the system because it's unsuccessful for a couple of games or a couple of days, because especially if it's worked over the long term, because it will come back and you will have a run that will offset that, you know. So I wouldn't let a game or a week or a day or even a month, you know, get me off a system that's worked for years and years and years. Like I have my baseball system that, you know, bludgeoned me this year. I mean, just crushed me in this 60-game season. I mean, it was just terrible. I'm still going to use the same one. When we go back to 162 next year, I'm going to use the same one. Use the same one. Same one.
Oh, yeah, look at it. It was way too chalky this year in baseball.
Well, because you didn't have these guys making spot starts, and you didn't have any of that stuff. It was almost like a playoff, you know, run. It was like, you know, short rotations, stuff like that. I mean, you didn't even see like teams go to these bullpen games like we've seen, you know, over in recent years. You just didn't even see it. Oh man, I'm still trying to find some of these idiots on. It's like, all right, let's keep going. That was a good one. Miami of Ohio -2 versus Ball State. Chris?
Yeah, I'm on Miami, Ohio here. I think I like their quarterback, and I think they're the better team coming into this one.
You don't think that line looks a little funny to you?
I have to dig into it a little bit more going into tomorrow. But
how about you, Ryan?
I looked at that show, or I gave that selection out on the drive-thru last night, and then I looked at it again later on in the night, and I'm like, I'm not going to take Miami, Ohio. I'm going to go the other way. Give me Ball State.
I'm on Ball State.
I'm going to take Ball State money line.
I'm on Ball State.
So it's them two running backs out for Miami, Ohio. Both running backs. Who's going to run the ball? And that's what they like to do, is run the ball. If they can't run the ball and Buddy has to throw, it might get ugly.
Tom Lee doesn't like our show, so he's going to stay here. I don't like the show, so I'm going to stay. Okay. It's not like we're forcing you. Tom Lee, we can't do the show without Tom Lowe. Is that his name? Porto versus Marseille. Chris?
I think under 2.5. I think it's a low scoring game.
I agree. I think someone wins this game 1-0. Give me the under as well.
Chris?
Yeah. I had the under.
Under. Both of us on the under.
Someone is saying that Arkansas was a square play. I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think most people are on. I think A&M was the square play there. Georgia versus Florida. Is that this week? I don't know what the point spread is on that.
It was Georgia minus 4.5. I think the last I saw.
Is that this week?
Yeah.
Oh. Is it at Jacksonville? Or are they going to do it at the at one of their?
No, it's at Jacksonville.
It's at Jacksonville,
Georgia
or?
minus 3.5.
Who do you like?
Oh, I'm on Florida. I just think I think they're getting it done on both sides of the ball, and I don't know if Georgia's going to be able to run the ball in Florida. And I just think I just like the value of the points in this one.
Rod?
Georgia all day for me. Georgia.
I think I'm leaning Georgia right now, but it's subject to change. Take a look at it. I haven't really looked. You guys laying 3 TDs with Toledo over Bowling Green.
It worked out well last year, didn't it? Yeah, I think you have to. Bowling Green's just as bad as they were last year.
Yeah.
Why are you guys ignoring my question? We did your question.
Toledo.
No, I think it was just when you were behind on the comments.
Yeah, I'm always behind on the comments. I was born behind on the comments. Rod with the bird cage. Patricia, he's behind on comments.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, somebody said you were behind the comments, but give them a minute.
I'm always behind on the comments. Rod's, your coffee looks scrumptious. Oregon plus 3.5 versus Arizona State plus 14.5. Solid. What the hell does that mean? Oh, these are 2 picks that he's giving. Oh, you get your own show. Or post them in the Facebook group. I mean, I don't even understand that question. Post them in the Facebook group so people can see them and we can hold you accountable when you lose and call you out. What's your best advice you could give on sports betting? All three of you guys can answer. I appreciate all that you do. What's your best advice, Chris?
Don't chase.
Just chase.
Just if you get behind, again, don't bet something just for the sake of betting it. If it's a good wager, then okay, by all means. But again, like,
how about taking a personal loan to pay for your gambling?
That's a lot of my comfort zone.
How about something like that?
Especially if you have to go through this door and then they'll give you money. Don't worry, just give your reasons why. What?
Yeah, that's the obvious. Don't bet more than you can afford.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Don't bet more than you can afford. Limit yourself on chasing. Because sometimes you just can't help it.
I would say there's no such thing as a lock. There is no such thing as a lock. And if it looks like a lock, like it's too easy, walk away. Because walk away or bet the other side. I mean, how many people thought last night was going to be easy, right? The way the Giants, it's the freaking Giants. I mean, people, even at halftime, when I said I took the Giants for the game, people were still hammering me. That's how bad of a pick it is, you know. Rod, what flavor creamer you use in that coffee?
It's called Carnation Double Double. Yeah, it comes all when you get it's 2 sugar, 2 cream, all in one. You just pour a little in and add your coffee.
Sounds convenient.
It does. It's perfect. So good. But it's the fresh ground beans. Like I ground my beans fresh every morning.
Someone asked if you're yak milk. I ground my beans too. What kind of coffee you drink, Rod?
I change it up. I switch it up. I have I use an Italian espresso bean, and then I use I use a winter blend this time of year from Starbucks, and then an Italian espresso bean. And I put about 3/4 of the Starbucks base, and then a little bit espresso to boost up your coffee a little.
I drink Intelligentsia Black Cat. I have it shipped from Chicago. Once a month, they send me a 5-pound bag. I'm on the auto subscription. Every month I get a 5-pound bag. It comes in UPS, and I've been drinking the same coffee ever since I started. It's like I'm not changing. I love it. It's like I tried doing the Hawaiian coffee. Like everyone's like, "Oh, Kona coffee is so good," and right, it's so expensive, right? But it's like, I could pretty much afford whatever coffee I want, but it's like that Kona coffee, I find that it's too oily for me. You notice how some coffees are super oily? That Kona coffee is really oily. It's nice. Like I like if I go out to dinner and they have like a Kona coffee like in one of those French presses, I like that like once in a while. But as my morning regular coffee, it's just not my thing. State of Origin rugby. I was in Australia during the State of Origin rugby one time, and it was phenomenal. One of the best events in the world. Probably I would say, it's up there. It's kind of like on the level of like a Stanley Cup playoffs, or maybe like, I don't know. It's better than like NBA playoffs or something like that. It is like, it's like a boxing match. It's like equal to like the energy of a boxing match. It's just huge. Love it. Rod and Chris need them soccer plays. We don't do a la carte like that. It's got to be. They don't just set up a buffet and say, "Here's our picks." Would you like a little Atlanta here, to go with your side of, Villarreal or whatever. But it's, basically it's Team A versus Team B with the point spread is pretty much. We haven't done this in a while. Penn State minus 25 against Maryland. Chris?
I'm still on Penn State here. I think Maryland's terrible. Even with that win over Minnesota, I think this is a get-right spot for Penn State.
Too many points. I'll take Maryland.
That's a rivalry game, too. I think it's a trophy game, right? Where's that game at? I have not even looked at the college schedule. I haven't even looked at it. Chris and I are going to do videos after this. Texas, West Virginia, Michigan, Indiana. This is a good card.
Yeah.
It's at Penn State.
Duke, North Carolina. Coach K will be there. Wow. App State, Texas State.
Oh, hold me back.
Oh, man. Kansas, Oklahoma. Put a 38 on it and see where it goes. Wisconsin, are they playing or not playing?
Oh, I got it on there.
At Penn State.
Yeah.
Maryland didn't look too good on the road this season. TCU, Texas Tech. Utah, Arizona. Wow. This is a tremendous schedule. Tremendous. Ohio State minus 37.5 against Rutgers. Oh, Louisville's playing. I love the Louisville tackling. I missed them. What happened? I missed them. Broncos, Falcons. Broncos are +4. Where is that game?
It's in Atlanta.
I don't know, man. We're starting to see those Broncos wide receivers come to life. I kind of like the Broncos.
Yeah, so do I.
3-0 on the road against the number. 0-4 at home for the Falcons. I probably won't be
Falcons at home.
Probably won't be betting this one. There's some good games in the NFL this week.
There's some good football this week.
Ooh, Washington against the Giants. Dallas, Pittsburgh. Ouch. Wow. Dolphins, Cardinals. San Francisco, Green Bay, man. The rematch.
Cowboys minus 3.5.
That can't be right.
Am I? Is that? That's exactly what I said. I was like, that can't be right.
Locomotive against ATL Madrid. Chris?
I like Atletico Madrid to win 2-0. I think it's a shutout for Atletico.
I like the over 2.5.
It's odd because I was talking to Giants fans last night, friends who are Giants fans, and they were rooting for them to lose. They want Trevor Lawrence. They're definitely in the running. You're right about UNC on the road, Mitch. You like the points with Duke. Hey, did anyone know that Duke had black uniforms? Did anyone even know that? I was like, where the hell did that come from? It's like, who is that? That's Duke. What? They don't have black uniforms. They do today. Rod's like, shit, I took Charlotte. Duke's in the black uniforms. Who even knew they had those things? It was kind of like when the Lakers wore the Mamba jerseys in the finals.
Yeah.
It's like they're gonna win because they're wearing the Mamba jerseys. Like that's the game they lost. That's it. Don't ever listen to shit like that. You know, it's like Mamba jerseys. It's like no way. You know, no way.
In hockey, maybe they have a little more pride with their special jerseys.
Do they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Hockey guys are way more superstitious. Like, but then I gotta wear this jockstrap for the whole year. Well, look at Gretzky. He had to have his jersey tucked in just right. And then player sticks, man, I've heard them fight over you taped my stick wrong. I don't use white tape. What?
I think that's all the questions for today. It's pretty good. We had a pretty good turnout considering not even Bittler showed up. There was no games today, at least that I care about. We got State of the Origin rugby. We got soccer. I don't watch either, but I'm going to be doing videos with Ruffalo today. And my golf course, where I golf, is closed on Tuesdays, my club. So not going to be doing that. But I'm actually going to do work today. Got a lot to do. It's crazy. This is what happens, you know. I'm going to do a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff today. Chris, what are you going to do today with no games?
I'm still going to watch the Champions League. I'll catch up on some Netflix after, and then I got the drive-thru at 6 o'clock.
How about you, Rod? What are you going to do today?
Probably the same. I'm going to watch some of the soccer this morning. I'm going to do a little painting in the yard. We got a little Chinook happening, so the weather's been nice. It's been sunny. We had a nice 18 degrees. Get some painting in that I wanted to do before winter, but we hit that cold snap. And then the drive-thru show this afternoon.
It's going to be a great drive-thru. We got Alex Smart, Chris Ruffalo, Al Ninos, Rod Zawacki, Shane Mickle, Damian Sash, and, of course, Tony T. All on at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. How was the show yesterday with Joe D'Amico back? I actually did not catch it.
It flowed really well.
I like when Joe says condescending things about me on the show. It's like Joe's always like, I know those other guys are good at picking games. I'm the best. I'm way better than all you guys. It's like, well, Joe, I beat you a few times at least. I mean, I smoked you this weekend. I mean, I don't know. It's like I don't think he does it intentionally, but sometimes you just feel about this big. It's like, wow. I guess I should just pack it in. Yeah, the thing is, if you ever meet Joe, he's like one of the nicest guys. It's like if I ever get nominated, it's like if I ever, speak, I do some public speaking. I just don't do a ton of it. But Joe's like one of the guys you would want to introduce you. He always, and it's the thing about Joe also, it's like when you go to a party and it's his party, right? So it's like, he has a lot of obligations. There's a lot of people there. He, when you come in the room, he acts like, and he does this with, I believe he does this with everybody. He acts like he's been waiting for you, He's like, it's like he's so happy to see you. He acts like he's been waiting for you. And then he goes around the room and introduces you to just about everybody at the party. And it's always like some ridiculous over-the-top introduction, like that you're embarrassed, what he's saying about you. It's true. The things that he's saying is true, but it's things you would never, say to people, It's weird, He's such a good guy, but he does to hype himself, It's like he does love the hype. He loves the hype. He's great at it. I like him. He's one of my guys. Anything else you guys want to add to this gem of a show? You got bird cages or?
Yeah, I got one.
What the hell?
So for my bird cage, we'll go Atletico Madrid to win to 0, Bayern Munich to win and both teams to score, and the Ajax game to go under 2.5. Or sorry, under 3.5. Excuse me.
Scott S. is joining the show late. Bittler's at the polls. He is in line, and the lines are hours long in Pennsylvania. And actually, Pennsylvania, one of the states where your vote's really going to count this time around. Swing state. Pennsylvania, Florida, Wisconsin. If you're in any of those states, make sure you vote, man. It's like if you're in any state, make sure you vote. But if you're in one of those states, make sure you vote, man. Whichever way you're voting, It can come down to. I mean, we've seen a few elections come down to just a handful of votes, man. Remember that Bush Gore election came down to like those mail-in count votes in Florida, the hanging chads. Rod, you got anything? What do you got to say for yourself?
First thing I'll say is my best 3 bets are over in the Premium Air and today's championship card. I have 3 bets over there that I love. But I have a birdcage here for you now. For me, I'm going to take Real Madrid to win and both teams to score. Take Porto money line and take Bayern Munich -1.5. Parlay those up. That's a 3-team birdcage.
There you have it. Thanks everyone for joining us. It was I don't know. We went over an hour. It was just 3 of us. We had nothing to talk about whatsoever. We had a few hundred people join us, which is a few hundred more than listen to some of those other shows out there. So, anyways, thanks everyone for joining us. It was fun. Be sure to vote. And at the end of the day, we're all brothers, man. It's like and sisters. We're not gonna, we're still friends. Just like at the end of the Alabama-Auburn game, and just like at the end of, these other games. It's like we're all on one side, we're all on the other side. We're still friends at the end of the day. Tomorrow's another day, and we'll have a lot more to bet on tomorrow. We got MAC football. We'll see you on tomorrow's show. Chris will see you on the drive-thru. Have a great day, everyone, and, of course, we'll try and act more professional tomorrow.